I'm really proud of the way that the guys just put in the shit.
Hey, what's it like in Brazil right now? Is it warm? Yeah. It's always hot, huh? Yeah.
You really suck. This sucks more than anything that I've ever fucked before.
You getting that ass, Larry? Know what I mean? You getting that ass, Larry. That's what the fuck you do.
We are enjoying a lot about this time here in...
Why are you holding up a card to indicate a penalty? Like, there's so many different things you can do and you decide to hold up a card? That's insane to me.
Oh no, I'm stuck. Step bro, come help me.
Where is the vagina? It's a trick question because you can't see it here. You need to part the labia first.
Wow!
She didn't really part the labia that far. You could actually
it looked like she squeezed it together and she just let it go.
Yeah. It is what it is, I suppose. Hey, welcome to Straight Red Card. The turd is back. Turd background says, welcome to the Straight Red Card. Sunday is roster release day. I would say to the players that get passed on, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you'll get what you need. I don't think he's allowed to play that song anymore. Pretty sure he wasn't. But that was the Trump anthem, wasn't it? I believe it was.
Oh, yeah.
Before he moved to YMCA. YMCA, I think, was the threat. The song for the campaign, I believe. Pretty sure that's what it was. You know, this
remember the Foo Fighters.
You do the little dance thing. Okay, yeah, that's got to be.
The Foo Fighters threw a fit, despite the fact, I guess, Trump did in fact license out the song or whatever they did.
Yeah. Anyhow, we're all still here. Chaos is not broken out
yet. I don't know, man. There's been protests outside of Trump Towers in Chicago, New York. You know,
that's not going to change anything at this point. It is what it is, and quite frankly, Democratic Party has no one to blame but themselves. They did this to themselves. A middle of the road, normal Democrat talking about policy should have been able to win this election, but no. Democratic Party has definitely changed, which is after 30 years of not only being inside the party, being an operative, working for 2 Democrat mayors. You know, I'm an independent because they didn't listen to me, Brett. They didn't listen to me. I told them they were going down the wrong road. I think Bernie told them today in a post they went down the wrong road. And you know what? It's really funny is I think Bernie Sanders would have won the election last night or Tuesday had he ran against Trump. I really do. I think he would have. But because, you know, I don't know. I would say the Bernie Sanders of before. I don't know where Bernie Sanders is now. I think he may have even changed a lot of his point of views. But, you know, at least that guy actually spoke to the working class and talk about working class issues. And, you know, that's something people who are living paycheck to paycheck can totally connect with. Yes, they want health care. Yes, there are all kinds of things. Yes, they want better education for their children. Yes, they want child care, you know, benefits so they can put their kid in child care and go work. Yes, they want tax credits for having kids. And I think Trump's talked about bringing that back too, by the way, because I think he wants more people to have kids. You know, he was for supporting unions and workers, and he was very vocal about it. He was very vocal about small businesses succeeding and helping them do it, and seeking peace, not war. Those were all the old lefty things that lefties used to stand for. You can call them whatever you want, but at least it resonated with, I would say, a great deal of the population, and probably would have. But the Democratic Party today is so far away from that at this point. I just don't think they realize how far away they are. They're just a long way away from it now. I think they're generally regarded by the average working person as the party of the elite, the party of the military industrial complex, the party of neoconism and Cheneyism and Bushism. And if that's what they want to be seen as, they're doing a really good job pulling that off. And so, and I'm not even going to get into all the micro areas where they're, probably scaring people away. If you're talking about calling everyone a racist and everyone a sexist, probably not helping either. And by the way, not calling everyone a Nazi. And that really hits home for me, having people who are related to me that died in concentration camps. I think I find that quite offensive when they compare everything to Hitler, the H-man, I'm sorry, because, a lot of my folks had to live through that shit. And they weren't even Jewish. They were German. And so I just think there's so many things that they are focused on peripheral issues. So for me, by the way, Brett, when Trump won last night, I wasn't surprised. Were you surprised? I was not. On Tuesday, I was not surprised at all. I could see it coming miles away.
Well, technically it was yesterday. It was just yesterday about 2:00 in the morning.
Right. So anyhow, the people that are surprised, I'm surprised they're surprised. I don't know what kind of enclave or cul-de-sac of noise they live around, but obviously they're only hearing what they want to hear, because if you've been following this for somewhat, this was coming down the road. This has been building up for at least 3 or 4 years.
I was kind of surprised. I took a look to find out how. So you're technically in Marion County, aren't you?
I am technically, yeah. I'm just on the other side of the road.
So Derek's usually from the Hamilton County area, the Noblesville, whatnot.
Yep.
And generally speaking, over the course of like the last decade or so, the north side of Indianapolis has been predominantly blue. But this year, the north side was completely red. Yeah.
And by the way, we're not going to take this on for that long, but it's like if we don't address it, it's like
the relevant topic right now.
I mean, what are
everybody's talking about it?
So, and I do think, Brett, as well, that, and I've been telling this, especially to the Democrats who approached me throughout this whole situation and said, Derek, you got to get out there. You got to help us, get out. We need you to talk to these people. Here's what we think you should hit upon. And they send me their bullet points. And first of all, I let them know, well, I'm an independent now, but hey, you've been so big. How can we convince you to get back and get involved? Well,
how rude of them to say that you've been big in the past, Derek. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Now
come on, man.
But it's like, you send me the bullet points of talking points. You can't, I'm not going out there with these talking points because they're fucking lies. Like the 2025, the Project 2025 is what Trump's going to foist on America. He hasn't even read that shit for the most part. He doesn't even know what the fuck that is. He's going to have a national abortion ban? No, he's not. He's been really clear. He's against a national abortion. Like, give me some talking points. Well, I'm not going to use yours, but let's say I accepted their offer and went out and did that. I couldn't use any of the thing they gave me. None of them. The IVF was under threat when I think it's Tulsi and Trump were on stage a couple of weeks ago talking about how Trump's going to force insurance companies to accept. They have to pay for IVF going forward, intravenous fertilization. Yeah, I'm just baffled by them. And I just think the stupidest people, not the real hardcore, solid ass people that used to run the Democratic Party that weren't hacks. They don't run the party anymore. It was happening when I was working for the last mayor that I worked for. I could see it just crumbling apart. There were all these DC hacks flying in. They got jobs from all over the country. They weren't the people that lived in the county that I worked in. I mean, who are these fucking people? They don't even know where Bloomington is. And they got jobs in that administration instead of locals who had been there busting their ass. A lot of them were Vietnam vets, etc. Had been living in the city for a long time. Like, there's something inherently deeply wrong with the Democratic Party that needs to be fixed. And I guess that's all I'm going to say. I could say way more. I could get way more detail, but I really just don't want to. It's just sad. Well, and then they blame, all these posts, those goddamn Latinos, they're traitors. What the fuck? Oh yeah, that's a great thing to say.
So they jump on board by saying, I know Latino men, they're just a bunch of misogynists.
Yes,
like they have a history of misogyny.
How's that going to help in the next election? You dumb shit.
Yeah. Like, wait a second, what the fuck?
You don't
First you
call
call us
a whole
garbage,
group.
now
You don't blame black men. You don't blame Latinos and Latinas. You don't blame any specific group. How about look in the mirror and blame your fucking self? You fucked it up. This should have been easy. Anyhow, that's it. I'm sorry. To me, this is so obvious. It has been for a decade, and they can't figure it out because they're a bunch of idiot elites that don't really deal with normal human beings anymore. They're not out with normal working Americans. They're not in touch with that at all. Yeah. And at least Trump, say what you will, but he gives that whole working man thing lip service, actual lip service. That works. People just want to hear you're thinking about them. That's all. Lip service. So 69 people here already. Thank you very much. Sorry you had to come into this, but we had to get this election thing. Brett, any final thoughts? I'm sorry. I took up
We'll jump back and do something real quick. I did want to take a slight break here. Tony Martinez is asking me if there's good fishing behind me. I mean, it's it's right out outside of my bedroom. I mean, look at this. This is a nice Airbnb I'm staying at.
It is quite nice, except the wind doesn't seem to be blowing at all.
It's coming from the north this way. So it's high. There's none down low.
Brett Oppenheim had a good comment. Thank you, Brett, for chiming in and being a loyal viewer. We appreciate that, and thanks for coming on the show. He says for $10, as a lifelong D, I agree with you. Party went to shit last few years. I would say, having been as deep inside of it, I think it actually started probably in the second term of Obama, late in the second term. I started to see, the elites take over the party instead of sort of the working class union sort of folks who were down to earth and Vietnam vets, people who were tough. Those people, because they weren't graduates of Princeton and the Ivy Leagues and all, they just weren't considered they weren't considered as important anymore. I don't know. Maybe it was just the county I lived in and all the people I worked for. But I thought Bernie was a breath of fresh air there for a short while. But then he got sabotaged by the Democratic Party, because they got super delegates, right? Mm-hmm. So they can pretty much knock out. This is one thing you can say for the Republicans. They actually have a Democratic nomination process. Democrats don't, because the super delegates can shut out anybody they really just don't like that doesn't fit the establishment mold. That's what they did to Bernie. So, we're in a really rough orbit. I'm not a Democrat anymore. I'm an independent. So I need to stop saying we're. It's just I was involved with it for a long time. And this was not a surprising result. If you were surprised, you just haven't been looking very hard. And you didn't want to see it because it was out there and it was screaming. And so many other faults and, you basically ran somebody who didn't win a vote. Right. So anyhow.
Broken Furnace is asking what whiskey am I drinking. I drank all my Evan Williams today. Bye. In shows past, last couple shows, I have had Knob Creek. And I always kind of have to chuckle every time I have to, say, I've got a handle of Knob Creek right now.
Well, especially his nickname's just Knob.
Seriously.
What you drinking? Knob, So there
drinking
you go.
Knob straight.
Yep. Anyhow, we had to address it because it's the elephant in the room.
There's a baby elephant to still talk about. So other liquor drinking, vodka, Sprite. What do you got, Derek?
Right now, Canada Dry and vodka, but I am going to move on to this. I grabbed the bean counter. I hate this one. I'm going to drink it.
Is that the Java one?
It's the coffee one. Ugh, it's gross. I'm going to drink it because it's still almost 10% alcohol.
Well,
no, it's only 8.
As I always say, Derek, it's like, I paid for it, so I'm going to drink it.
Well, I had 6 of them in there, and I rushed in there before the show to grab it, and I grabbed the wrong one.
Oh, anyhow. I thought you said you had 6 of those in there. I was like, you just wait to drink a couple of those ginger ale and vodkas, and then once you got a nice little buzz going, then you just start pounding those crappy beers.
I already got a nice buzz going. So someone check on Fumar. Fumar knows he's welcome here, and maybe if I didn't see it, but if he was saying Kamala was going to win.
100% he was, yeah.
Then I just think he didn't see the writing on the wall.
Well,
so.
no, and here's the thing. He's more than in his right to do so.
He can do
one
that
way or another. It's up to him what he thinks. There was plenty of people who were saying that. Oh, it's a lot closer than what they're reporting in the polls. The polls were shite too.
Oh my God! Fire all the pollsters because they know absolutely fucking dick squat nothing. They got this so wrong. They couldn't have been more wrong. But then again, if you were just out and about, you could sense something was up, and you knew this was going to happen. I mean, the polls have been like this. They've been wrong a lot. So I don't think
they've been right for a long time.
Right. So yeah, tough. But again, it shouldn't have been that shocking to people who had really been paying attention and just look at X and just kind of look at the discussions there, look on other social media. You kind of got the feeling that, wow, something weird's going on here. There sure are a whole lot of minorities on YouTube posting up vids that they're going to vote for Trump. That's kind of weird. No, it's not weird. It's not weird. Well, they had their reasons, and the Democratic Party, it's up to them to win people back. And, don't blame the people that voted. Blame yourself. Blame your ground game. Blame your rhetoric. Blame your dogma. Get back to the party you used to be when I worked there. And, anyhow.
You know what is weird? I'm not saying this is towards one party or the other, but when a younger generation throws a hissy fit because they didn't get their way, and they post their temper tantrum to TikTok or YouTube or whatever,
are they doing it for the hits?
I feel like at least half of these have to be performative. I really do.
I do too, because it's embarrassing to do that. But then on the other hand, there are people who are just totally wacky. Listen, I will never, and this is on Jimmy Kimmel too, by the way, who cried on national television about the loss. That is so embarrassing. I don't care who got elected and who I supported in any election I've ever been a part of. I would never have cried. When Kerry lost and Gore lost, did I cry? Hell no, I didn't. I didn't cry.
Only in bed yourself.
Why would I cry? I'm not crying. Life's gonna go on. Things will change. These things always swing back and they swing back and forth like a pair of balls. They really do. So
Jocko goes, almost all women and whatever Kimmel is.
Yeah, Kimmel's an embarrassment.
It's the whole trend. And again, I feel like some of them have to be performative just to try to draw more like sympathy likes and clicks and stuff like that, just to try to boost their the algorithm for their whatever however TikTok's algorithm works. I have no fucking clue, but I feel like these all have to be performative. Not all, some. Let me rephrase it. Some of these have to be performative.
So, as well, I think the Democrats need to worry about the media who are cucks for them as well and lied for them so constantly that people stop listening to them. Like, who watches MSNBC anymore? Nobody. There was a time I used to watch Rachel Maddow many, many years ago. I can't watch that shit anymore. Joy Reid, Keith Olbermann, by the way, is another guy out there you don't want on your side. These are crazy people that you need to get off of your side. They're not going to win anybody over because their only thing they're going to go out and do is call everybody that doesn't agree with them immediately a racist and a bigot, being a fascist. Listen, here's the crazy thing. Here's how you build an actual big tent thing. When you're a union leader, for instance, if you go out into all the people, you're making a speech in front of all of your workers, and you're saying, all right, we need to really get together. I need all of you on board going forward. Here's what we're going to do. But first, before we do that, everyone that owns guns, raise your hands. Okay, you're all out. Okay. Everyone that voted for Trump the first time, raise your hands. Okay, you're out of the coalition. You're out. Okay. Everybody that is not pro-choice or against abortion. Okay, all of you, throw them out. That's not how you build a working class coalition. You don't throw people out because they just disagree on one issue that you are fucking. That's not how any working class coalition has ever been built in this country. It's not about one issue. It's about coming together around the idea that all of us should have the chance to make a living in this country. All of us. That is the core thing we all need to focus on, and stop picking ourselves apart and letting the elites and all the big of corporate America push us around forever. And until we can figure out and stop being distracted by all this other bullshit, we're not going to be able to do that. And right now, all of the Democratic Party can do is focus on the distractions and separating us by every which way, when we should all come around and coalesce around something we all can agree on, which is we all need to be treated with dignity and respect. And our jobs should be treated with dignity and respect. And we all deserve to earn more. And we shouldn't allow one class of people to take all the money for themselves. Anyhow, that's a really old school point of view that probably won't be accepted by many, but that is how things used to be. They're not like that anymore. It's not about building coalitions. It's about breaking everybody down into different groups so they can't get along anymore. How do you build a coalition, around kicking people out because they don't agree with this view or this one view or that one view? That's not how building coalitions works. Anyhow, this election happened and I've lost 400 followers. All I have done is point out the madness. This country's oversensitive, overreactive, and overaggressive. Get over yourself. If over is the operative word here. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Eric's been liking a couple or commenting on a couple of videos and stuff like that. Primarily talking about RFK and the food industry and stuff like that. And he's been catching heat about it. Although the funny thing is, the people who are giving him heat are also agreeing that the food industry needs to be taken down. So I'm really perplexed. It's like, oh, I agree with you that the food industry needs to be taken down, but RFK this, X, Y, and Z, whatever, but I'm just like, yeah, apparently he's lost some followers due to some of the takes.
And by the way, when I explained how building a coalition worked, that doesn't necessarily, I believe in some sort of socialist fucking revolution. I just want to be really clear about that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that's not the way what I just said was, that's not how you build a coalition. You don't ask people what they believe and kick them out because they don't agree with one thing. I want to be very clear that was an example of how not to do something. And that is unfortunately what the Democrats have been doing piece by piece by piece by piece for the last, decade or so. Anyhow.
The last political thing we'll say, guys, and then it's over. Done. We'll get into the fun soccer things. I wanted to extend Chris Gary a TSRC thank you for writing us into the ballot.
Yes, thank you.
One vote up in New Hampshire,
I believe it was in New Hampshire. We got a vote, a write-in ballot vote. Yeah.
So I wanted to just chime in and say what my first act of presidency would be. Is that my first act of president would be to make sure that the U.S. men's national team soccer plays in other cities besides Kansas City, St. Louis, Cincy, and Austin. They've had their fair share. It's time to grow as a national team.
Yay! I am for that one, Brett. I am for it. Did you call yourself the VP?
No, the president.
Okay.
I'm the president.
Wait a minute. What? You get to be president? What about me? What am I doing?
You mean my press secretary? Nope. The term's press secretary.
I think I should be president. All right, whatever.
Well, it'd be really weird if the straight red card was written in on a ballot and Derek Ritchie was the president. That'd just be weird.
Well, you'd be the VP, wouldn't you?
It has to be the straight red card, though.
That's how it worked out with Indy 11, right? I was the president. You were the VP. That worked out splendidly. We should just keep the same format.
Oh, Chris Gary said it was Connecticut.
Okay, was it? All right.
No,
by the way, Chris,
in the same area, I guess.
I love your posts, your political posts too. They're funny. They're amusing. I'm sure if we sat down, we'd disagree on a lot of things, but we do agree on so much going on out there.
Untouchables agrees and gives us his vote. We got Burnt Toast's vote. Let's see who else is here. C. says my 78-year-old mom loves RFK and Derek.
My grandma's went for Derek.
Tony Martinez says, "Damn right, you go, Brett."
I think Brett's too nice to be president, but maybe I'm too big of a dick. There's that too.
So I feel like it's like I'm the nice owner, and you're the Rottweiler I've got on the leash that I could just let go at any time.
Secretary of State, something like that.
Get back here, Derek! Stop!
And by the way, and this is a good point by Tony Martinez. It's okay to disagree, just like on, on Straight Right Card. If you'll notice this, there's a lot of disagreement in our chat over time, but everybody's friends. And that's how it should be in the real world. You can disagree. Like, there are people who can't get over this. One of them being a certain person we won't mention, who tries to stir up shit between people like Max and me. Well, sorry, Max and I talked about it. We text.
It was tagged.
And we kind of laughed about it, actually. No one's going to make me dislike Max Bretos. I just like him. And yes, I did say he was compromised. And then I said it to his face on text. And I said, let's be real. You work for Don Garber. You can't criticize Don Garber. He says, well, I criticize some of the things they've done, mostly small things. But, let's say, for instance, Max had a massive disagreement with the MLS that just pissed him off. Would he be able to actually go out there and say it like that? No way. And he knows it, and I know it, because I've worked for major companies, and if I disagreed with what the company was doing, which I did, by the way, when I worked for Author Solutions, for instance, did I publicly go out and bash them? Hell no, I couldn't do it. It was part of my contract, number one, and B, I would have been fired on the spot. So saying someone's compromise is not that big of a fucking deal. It's just reality. One thing about politics, don't take yourself so seriously and admit that there's common ground. I would agree. I think taking yourself seriously is a really bad idea. And, one thing you can say about Trump, however you might be disgusted by him, but he has a really decent sense of humor. And, I think people find that he's pretty authentic. I like when he says, we're the best, or it's the biggest, it's the greatest, or the best thing ever happened. He says that a lot. Of course, he's exaggerating. He doesn't have the best this of all time. He's not the smartest or greatest at this of all time. Yes, it's exaggeration, but generally, he's a pretty authentic guy, and he talks like a real person talks for the most part. So, hey, what do you guys think of Pete's new intro? I have seen it. I think he's trying to replicate what we do here because I think that's cool. I think he's going to work on it more. That's what he said. He's going to work on it some more, make some adjustments, but I think it's a good start. I like a good intro. I think an entertaining intro is important. And we've made it a point here to do it different than other shows do it. Where most shows start with a talking point, then they do the music, and then they get on to the show. But because that's what standard.
That's what recorded videos. That's the hook. Because if you just jump right in with like an intro, you lose half your viewership just within the 15 seconds.
Well, how retarded is that freaking viewership? They can just fast forward through it. Seriously,
that's true. Here's the new video for those who have not seen it.
It needs more humor.
Love the random eagle.
I think it needs to be funnier.
Like when the eagles show up, there should be a type of noise or something.
Well, and then a big crap needs to come out of the eagle's ass and land on the field on a Mexican player or something.
It's like Don Garber on his head, like son of a bitch.
A Mexican national team player, Right. I don't know. I think humor is a really good way to go. So, all right.
Speaking of humor, Derek, I need your opinion on this because I'm torn. I need to know. Do you remember the TV show Pros versus Joes?
No.
So there's a game. It was like almost like American Gladiators to an extent, but you had like a couple of regular Joes going up in sports against professional.
Oh yeah. I do remember it now. Yeah. Okay.
So
now that you explain it.
There was happened to be a soccer one, and I wonder if you can guess who is in it. He's been on our show.
Okay.
He's controversial.
Lawless.
That's too easy of a hint, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
I need your opinion on this because somebody asked Lawless if this was a foul or not, and he said no. Play on.
Okay. He just totally wrecks the dude.
Hey, he got the ball first, I guess.
Oh my God! Did he have to be so brutal?
I mean, yeah, it was kind of over the top in the sense, yeah.
Jesus Christ! He absolutely destroys and mangles that guy. Oh Jesus!
BMR says got all ball. He got all ball.
He did his follow through. Totally took out the dude though. That wouldn't be legal now. I can tell you that. It'd be legal back in the day. Look at how hard he is swinging already.
Clears the ball. There goes the ball because he just cleared it. And the other guy ran into him, actually. See?
He did get the foot out of the way, but
Wallace
then
didn't even move.
The guy
just ran into him.
The dude eats his ass after this, though, or close to it.
See? No, that's totally clean. VAR would be on our side. Totally clean. The guy ran into him and bounced off of Lawless.
I'd still call it. Today's game is so twinkle nuts. It's totally a different game.
That's fair.
So,
that's fair. That's fair. Right. I mean, it's we joke, no, you and I, but the general we joke about basketball, and you look back at relatively recently, even as the Michael Jordan days. You can go back to Larry Bird, et cetera, and see how more physical NBA was at the time, and how much more defense was played. And now it's like everything's a foul. And
did you see the guy who attacked Lawless for celebrating the Trump election? He was like, "Go fuck yourself," and then he said, "You fucking fuck face." It's like, okay, you want him to fuck himself, and he's a fuck face. Like, make up your mind. What is he going to do here? But anyhow, I just think that's not cool. I mean, if you want to, but then I've seen other people who are like I said again, who are like, I'm never talking to Latinos are dead to me or whatever. The post I read, I'm like, Latinos are dead to you just because they voted in a greater percentage this time around for Trump than before? Let me get this straight. No, that's not how you react. That's not what you say, especially if you ever want those people to vote for you again. But, leave it to some idiot voters to totally, they're going to fuck over things going forward. So anyhow, U16 men's youth national team. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to know who any of these kids are.
Absolutely U17s. I know a couple of U16s actually because the Chicago Fire Academy and the Chicago Fire Next Pro Team players. But yeah, as a whole, definitely don't know shit from these players. But figured we'd highlight. Yeah, they're going. I think they're going down to Mexico. Let me see, is it Mexico? Yeah, they're going down to Mexico, play a 2-game series. That's cool.
Can I say something else?
You certainly can.
PT97 said Democrats aren't leftists. I think he might be right. No, I know he's not right. I know he's not. Anyhow, there's a gigantic embrace of the neocon aspect of the old right that they have absolutely embraced since Hillary was Obama's Secretary of State, I believe. Anyhow,
Derek, you know anything about Xander here?
I don't know him. He must be really young.
Well, I mean, it's U16, so you're looking at 14, 15-year-olds.
Could be 14 and 15. I've never seen him play because, as you know, I start my tracking at the U19 level. That's when I start to really, really care, because they've made it through the little shit leagues and now they're playing with the bigger little shits. So anyhow, yeah, I don't. I'm glad he's at Ajax, though. I think that's great. He's one of the few kids here that aren't on an MLS team. So
I think might be the only one. Yeah, the only one.
Yep.
On this squad. The U17s, which we're going to pull up in a second, definitely a little more diverse as far as leagues are concerned.
I think that he's probably at Ajax because he's a dual nat, more than likely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep. Okay.
So here's
All
the
right.
U17. Let's just do this. Let's pull that up in a new tab. There we go. That's better. Go down the list here. Hey, Willem McKay doesn't have a team associated to him. Interesting.
All right. What are you pulling up? I can't see it.
Of course you can't.
Did you say cunt?
Cunt. You can't see it.
You can't see it, you cunt.
So, here on the U17s, it doesn't have a team associated to him. It's different.
Well, he's got some really good people saying he's great then.
They fucked up. Who knows?
I doubt it.
Whoever made this thing. Well, I'll have to double check that.
I doubt it. I'm sure he just doesn't have one.
All right, go down this list. Talk about that.
So none of these kids are kids that I've been following yet, except for Kevin Sullivan, obviously, for obvious reasons. And if you go down further, there's
Christopher
enough.
Cups is a decent defender. Again, just following the handful of games I've watched at the MLS Next Pro.
Is he a C or a D cup? All right. And then
definitely a minus cup.
Okay. And then Matthias Albert is just killing it for the Dortmund U19s. He scored more goals recently, and he's 15 years old playing for the U19s and absolutely kicking ass. A definite name, Matthias Albert, or Mathis Albert, if you're American.
Mathis Albert.
You'll want to keep your eye on, because he just got there. He immediately was thrown into the starting lineup for the Dortmund U19s, and he's 15 years old. And he's absolutely destroying 17 and 18-year-olds. Absolutely destroying them.
Real quick, jumping back to William McKay, he plays for Real Salt Lake.
Why did they give him they don't have a Real Salt Lake symbol?
No, they got one right here by Gio Villa.
So the guy that put this together was drunk?
They fucked up, like I said. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
You got Cade's younger brother here.
Younger brother, Chance. I've seen a little Jameer Johnson, not a lot.
There's a lot of hype around Julian Hall.
I hope that works out for him. But the only guy that's blowing my nuts off right now at any level, two of them, are Matthias Albert, or Mathis Albert. And of course, at times, Kevin Sullivan's been very impressive.
I'll say the Twitter guys who follow the youth programs are really high on this list. So, I mean, obviously I don't follow this younger squad, so I can't tell you how stacked this is. But they are saying this is a very stacked squad. Austin Jones, I want to talk about him real quick because people are talking about him. Apparently, he is decided to play for the U.S. after playing for the Dutch side.
This is good. This is good news.
He scored 43 goals and bagged 8 assists in his first season with PSV. Guessing, obviously, a youth team. Yes.
I wish when they post these things, they put up the youth team.
Yeah, maybe it's a variety of youth teams. Maybe it's like U17 and U19.
U15.
Second team, who knows?
U17s, yeah. I just think people need to be more clear about that so people don't read it and go, oh my God, he's really good for PSV.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't play for PSV. He plays for their little boy team.
43 goals in one season, man. Yeah, he definitely wouldn't be playing for the U.S. We'll put it that way.
He'd be signing for Chelsea immediately as well. So, yeah, I think there's some promising players to certainly keep an eye on. Nobody is going to obviously sparkle to the point before 2026 to I know people have been saying Kevin Sullivan could make that 2026 team. I think that'd be really amazing if he did. Even Matisse Albert, I think, is a long haul hope. I think even Cole Campbell is still kind of stretching it right now. Let's see if Cole Campbell, who's playing for the big boy Dortmund team, continues to get playing time, continues to see, to get the experience necessary to be called up, which I think he will in the next year or so if the trend continues. I like this Cole Campbell player. I think he's a little small and demure, but he's fast as fuck.
He's fast as fuck, yeah.
He is fast as hell. And we could use a backup guy going down the road.
Yeah, as we get into our 23 or whatever we're going to call in for the Nations League, we absolutely could use a way back.
Yes, we could. Just like
no,
guys were talking about left back today too, and I think I might have sent you that in there. Like, well, what about who'd they have as left back? Bello, and I'm like, Bello. Have you seen Bello plays for Lask in Austria? And they did mention that, so they were kind of like, yeah, we realize he plays against Klagenfurt and all these small little cities in Austria. But I said, what about Nathaniel Brown? Did you watch his last two starts? Anyhow, Nathaniel Brown, unfortunately, today was not even on the roster. I don't know if they're resting him
for the Champions League roster or Europa, whatever.
Europa.
Yeah, they didn't put him on the actual roster itself. So he's not going to play in the group stage at all.
He didn't make the roster. That's right. That had to be listed out like months ago. So he wasn't even on it. But I think in the Bundesliga, we're seeing a guy in Nathaniel Brown who's going to start practically every single game going forward this season for Frankfurt.
God, he puts in shifts like last week, man.
I mean, last week and the week before against fucking Scally, he looked great. So I think, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, as far as this U17 list, again, this is a wait and see list. And as we have gone through the history of this before, Brett, players in our U17 program, there are usually only 3 to 4 that ever make it to the big boy team. I hope it's different this time around, but I imagine it will be mostly the same.
Yeah, I mean, we can sit here and roll the dice and gamble on 3. I mean, Matisse obviously is making. Oh,
he's looking good, dude. He's making his name real good.
At Dortmund, again with Austin Jones being scoring 43 goals against U15s in Holland.
Yeah,
but I mean, I've never seen him play, so I can't judge anything off him.
Austin Jones. Matisse Albert, of course, Kevin Sullivan.
Obviously, we can roll the dice with Kevin as well. I think that's pretty safe. It's a pretty safe roll.
Yeah, but a lot of the defenders, I don't know as much about. I mean, I'll have to work on that. But
I mean, the problem is this is U17 squad. So unless you're watching MLS Next and then MLS Next Pro, you're never going to see 98% of these guys.
So Victor Vanderbroek, based on his name, who plays for Genk, Genk's U17 squad or U19 squad. I don't know him very well, but the fact that he's already been called up and he plays in Genk might be something to keep an eye on. We'll see if he gets called up by the big boy Genk team. We'll see. A lot of the other guys are MLS prospects. Let's wait for them to start playing for their actual MLS teams.
Yep.
And that's when we'll get to really see them get tested. Most of them have not on this list. So we'll see what happens going forward.
Again, just to reiterate, as far as the people who actually follow the youth games, they're stoked about this and they claim it's a stacked roster. Maybe stacked for U17s. We'll see. Again, as we've talked about ad nauseum, when you look at these, we've had stacked rosters before in the past.
Yep.
90% of them just don't pan out.
Right. I mean,
more than just journeyman MLS players.
I can remember some of the last shows we did for Big Soccer. and putting out lists where we're like, this guy could do it. This guy could make it. This guy can make it. This guy can make it. It was stacked.
We still talk about Soto.
Well, no,
Jokingly, it's kind of a joke at this point.
He wasn't on that list, but
he
back then we were talking about guys like Darlington Nagby and the one guy that got injured. And there were some great youth players on those old teams.
There's like that one guy that got injured. I'm like, well, Jesus, I'm never.
Oh, he was really big. His name was off the charts. Everybody thought he was going to be like the first. Rankin, yep.
Charles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. God, yeah. Talk about a guy who's played with injuries that just ruined his career. Not on him. He didn't ruin his career. His injuries ruined his career.
Right.
Oh my God, that hurt. That one hurt, man.
Lewis Gill ruined his own career for the most part. That wasn't injuries. I love Lewis Gill, so do not take that the wrong way. I think Lewis Gill is one of the nicest guys I have ever communicated with on a regular basis. He is a great, spectacular guy, but boy, should he have taken that Arsenal offer. Mm-hmm. Now, I think that,
I know some people would sit there and argue, well, it's sometimes players just, aren't ready to go abroad, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, you might not ever
get another
shot.
Yep.
We all got to grow up at some point, and you have to just go and test yourself. Yeah. Doghouse wants to know what happened with Lewis Gill. He played at Real Salt Lake for a number of years, and then wiggled his way down to Mexico, and kind of
out to like weird ass European small teams in
European teams.
Yeah, he played.
I thought he fizzled to USLs.
He is there now, but and we're talking, I think, second division USL. But he did play in Europe briefly for a very tiny team in Chechnya, no, Czech Republic, somewhere around there. Very small team.
I will find out.
Tiny team. That's when I was in touch with him, when he was, out there struggling, trying to make sure he got paid.
Prague. He played in Czech. He played in Czech Republic.
Yep. For who?
More Victoria Zizkov.
Can you put it up?
Yeah, I guess I could.
So I can pronounce it. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Victoria Zizkov. And then Taborsko. That's when I was in touch with him the most, when I was like, so what's going on, dude? And he would just
third
wrap
tier US soccer. Yeah. USL 2 right there.
Yeah. And now the Spokane Velocity. Oh, and he's not played a single game for them. Ooh.
Maybe injured. You don't know.
What's that? NISL? Spokane Velocity?
Hold on, I gotta zoom out to see.
What a fucking stupid name for a
team. Third tier US soccer. It's USL 1.
Yeah, that's about where he's ended up. So Lewis Gill, that's what happened to him.
Zizkov is in the Czech. He's only been in Czech. He's only been in Czechoslovakia.
So did I get that right? Did I say Czech?
I don't know.
Yes, I did.
I don't remember what you said.
Yes, I did, because I said Chechny, and then I said Czech.
Yes,
yep.
You're right. You did say Czech. That's right.
Yeah, then I corrected myself. So great guy, though. One of the most nicest dudes you'll ever have a conversation with, Lewis Gill. Great person. I wish him the best.
Sticking in MLS. In MLS, that's a weird way of wording it, I know. Young player of the year went to Diego Luna. Apparently had like I didn't pull his actual numbers, but he had 20 goal contributions this season.
Dude, he's great.
Yeah.
If you can figure out how to use that guy, then you could eventually see him playing for us in 2026, or maybe at 20. He needs to go to Europe. We just needs to go.
Yeah, 100% agree. Although he just signed the U22 initiative thing, so he's there for another 3 or 4 years. So unless Real Salt Lake get a good deal, he's going to be at Real Salt Lake for at least another 2 years.
Oh, by the way, Ping, I am well aware that Chechnya isn't a country. I misspoke. When you drink, sometimes shit comes out of your mouth. I'm well aware, and I know where Chechnya is, and I know all the strife that has gone on and around that area throughout most recent history, especially between the Russian government, Soviet governments in that area. Anyhow,
Ice says he's going in January. So the funny thing is that usually you hear a sleuth of teams that are keeping tabs on him. You know, because I don't think a small team in Europe is going to be able to convince Real Salt Lake to get rid of him.
right.
Maybe Mexico could throw out enough money, and maybe he finds his way to Liga MX.
I hope not. I hope not. I don't think that's a leak that's very convincing anymore.
It's a lateral move, if anything.
It's very close to a lateral move. I mean, so is Belgium.
True. But
so-
Belgium opens up more doors, though.
It does. It did open more doors for McKenzie because now he's in Toulouse, right? So if you do go to Europe and go play in Belgium, there are going to be a lot of eyeballs on you across Europe going, look at that guy, look at that kid playing for Ghent or Genk or whatever in Belgium, Anderlecht. And then people go, wow, that kid could play for us. And if you're Lille or you're Lyon or you're Toulouse, which isn't either of those two teams who are traditionally much better than Toulouse is, but you still get a bigger, better chance, right? If you go to Europe and people get eyeballs on you. If you go to Mexico, a lot of European teams don't do extensive research in Mexico because the players are too expensive. The teams won't sell their best players.
Yeah.
So that's why the Mexican national team is suffering, right? So there you go.
So Ice says the owner has a lot of connections in Europe. He'll probably go there sooner or later. I think I don't think a team's going to come this winter, of course. I think if he puts in another shift next season, like he did this season, I think then you'll start seeing some decent bids come in. Real Salt Lake will really have to think about it.
But you know what? It's going to have to be a team that really understands who he is.
Sure.
I don't even think RSL sometimes have a really good grip of who he is. So the fact that he's succeeding in an atmosphere where he's not playing enough CAM, he's not the field general on the attack.
That's the thing, though, right there is, I mean, I would just throw him in the middle. Throw him in the middle. Here are the keys. You do you, boo, you know?
Yep. That would be ideal, but not even RSL's been able to do that with him. So, or has decided to do that with him. But that might be just a tactical decision, right?
So, I mean, the big thing with like MLS sides and stuff like that is that they look at that field general, that the guy who has the keys, and that's generally speaking, one of their team's DPs or higher paid, foreign imports. It's not necessarily a local kid and say, hey, here you go, have fun, So
right.
Generally speaking,
yep.
I mean, we even saw with Chicago with Guti. Guti got pushed out wide when he should be in the center of the pitch.
Right. So we'll see. A lot of American MLS teams don't really play a CAM. So
Guti had a decent season with Chicago, but Chicago was shit this year. He needs to have a solid season next year under Greg Berhalter, where he's going to immediately look at Guti and say, you remind me of Gio. I'm going to trade you.
Yeah, expect a boring 4-3-3 from Greg in MLS without an actual.
He'll stop the goal leakage. Maybe we'll squirm out into the playoffs. That'll be a step in the right direction, right?
He'll expect Greg to play a 6 and 2/8 and expect one of his 8s to play CAM.
He's got Kellen Acosta, so he's good to go right there. He's got 1-8.
To play a 8/10, which I just rather have my 10 just play a 10 and have to fuck around being an 8.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyhow,
horseshoe and cross aimlessly. Yep, that's That's what I'm anticipating.
That's what Brett's looking forward to.
Well, and so is Untouchables. He's a Chicago guy as well.
Is he? Oh, yeah. With the name, I should have known better. Yeah, obviously the Bulls thing coming from the Bull. Chicago Bulls.
Sure.
Also, 2-time MLS Coach of the Year, was the second longest tenured head coach in the league after taking the reins in 2014, leading the club to a Supporters Shield in 2020 and MLS appearance 2022. So, yes, Goodbye to Jim Curtin. He's been fired.
I'm just going to
I
say
think
it.
this is just horrible, Brett.
Stupid decision. Yes, Union didn't have a great season, but guess what? The grass is not always greener.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
It's not. You got a guy who has a history of succeeding with your club, has done great things, had one real bad season,
with a low spending club and a club that mostly relied on youth.
and actually got rid of a lot of their youth too.
Yes.
So it's I can't believe they got rid of him. I mean, he's been there for a while, but he's known nothing but success except for just recently.
Yeah, this is a short-sighted
Weird.
firing. Like imagine if Man United had, fired Ferguson early on after a bad season, or when he didn't win it, they fired him. But that wasn't going to happen with Ferguson. And I'm not saying he's Ferguson. I'm just saying he's brought a lot of good results to Philly, and I think this is a really short. And just as you said, the grass is never sometimes greener on the other side.
Neymar beat me to it. I was going to say, man, if only Chicago had held out for a little longer.
They should have.
Bring Curtin home. Bring him back to Chicago.
Yep, and Brian's right. Jim Curtin's phone has probably been ringing off the hook.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not going to be unemployed for long.
No, and you can say he's a mid-American coach, but with what he was given to operate with, not a lot there. I mean, Philly doesn't spend a lot of players on big names, big players. No. Yet he had a lot of success with what you would call be a very mid team. And let's be fair to Jim. And I think, if Jim wanted to, he could probably go overseas and coach in Sweden or Denmark or something like that and see if he can't launch himself into a European career. But obviously he's going to have to start in Scandinavia somewhere or something like that. He's not going to get a job in any of the big 5 leagues right away. I think that's probably unrealistic.
Maybe Bob Bradley could call. Never mind.
I really doubt after Bob's recent outings, he's going to be able to call anybody. And Bob's looking for a job. All right.
That was a joke. Yeah.
And so is Michael, who was his assistant coach. So I do think that Michael Bradley, the know-it-all that he is, that you and I know that he is. I mean, everybody that we've ever talked to said, yeah, he's kind of a know-it-all. He's kind of, it's kind of irritating, Michael Bradley. But sometimes that makes a good coach. Sometimes, so we'll see how his.
You kind of want to know it all for a coach.
Well, Michael Bradley,
a teammate, but maybe for a coach.
Michael Bradley definitely will be a coach going forward. I will guarantee it. Everyone's we've ever had on our show has described him as a coach in the waiting. Yep. And he will be a coach at some point. I don't know what level and where he's going to start, but he might have to start at USL and work his ass up. But he will be a coach, and he will be a pain in the ass to play for, and he'll be highly demanding, probably more than even his father is. And he's extremely technical. He's a video dude, just like a video geek, like his dad. And we'll just see. I think Michael Bradley could be a successful coach going forward. So it didn't start well because his dad got fired. Now he doesn't have a job either. But But
now he's got something on his resume. So
right.
That's all that matters at that point.
He coached in 2nd Division Scandinavian team. All right, there you go.
Look at my player resume and look at I've started my coaching one. You should probably give me a gig.
So we'll see.
You know what? Maybe Kievo will give it. Wait, never mind.
I don't think so. Kievo don't exist anymore, do they?
No, they don't.
Yeah, they went under. So yeah.
Kobe says Curtin to Coventry. Possible.
I don't think so, but
Hoffenheim might be looking for a new coach soon. So Curtin, keep your phone ready.
Yeah, Curtin's not going there either. And Matarazzo did get a tie today. So in whatever that fucking dumbass league is called. Was it Europa? Okay, it's not as dumb as I thought. Like the Conference League that shouldn't exist. But anyhow, we've had that discussion before. Like how many levels down underneath the Champions League do you need to go? One level down seems like okay.
It seems like
3 levels, 2 levels down. Really? We're gonna have a thing called the Conference League where teams I've never heard of called like Middle Fart and whatever play against each other. What's that about? Who cares? Who cares who wins the Conference
Stop
League?
being a competition snob, Derek.
I'm sorry. That's like the 3rd division of Champions League. Who wants to watch that? I watch it when Americans play, but I'm still kind of giggling in the background thinking,
I definitely don't watch the conference leagues of any, regardless of who's playing in it.
yeah, it's Paramount. So I watch it. All the games are on. So if an American's playing in one of those games, I'll watch. But I'm kind of like, this is just a meaningless shit because you can tell most of the teams put out like their second team. They're like the Conference League. Who gives a shit about this? I'm more worried about keeping my ass up in my fucking actual league back home.
So Derek,
go ahead.
On a side note, I just thought about this because I was moving my Xbox controllers to the side. So we could play a club together. However, we've got to buy the Xbox Game Pass.
Oh, that's fine.
So it's like the minimum one is like $9.99 a month.
That's why we have an account together.
Yeah. So thank you. Thanks again to Brett Oppenheim for funding at least one of our monthly Game Passes.
It's not just for you to buy dildos.
Well, I mean, you can only own so many of those, right?
Well, you have to ask Evie when she's done buying because she seems to be really picky about always getting a new one for your pegging things.
Yeah. Sure.
All right.
You really had to spell that out, didn't you, Derek?
Well, we haven't talked about that for a while. I thought I'd bring it up.
A while. It's like every like second show comes up.
No, I haven't talked about you and Evie doing the pegging for at least a month and a half, 2 months.
Ooh-wee. Where's community notes when you need it right now, Derek?
No, go check the videotape.
Dude, I'm not going to go back through all of our video. I can barely go through our video live.
MCIG says dildos aren't cheap. Is that true, Brett?
Yeah.
They're not cheap.
I mean, it's a piece of,
It's a piece of rubber. It seems like it would be fairly inexpensive.
I mean, I'll just go out and tap the rubber tree I got in the backyard and make my own.
Your rubber tree. Okay. Then you got to shape it into a penis.
Well, I mean.
You have a mold for that?
It comes naturally, Derek.
You make the mold out of your own penis?
Well,
so
you're
literally getting pegged by your own penis? What the hell, Brett? It's getting weird, dude. This is getting weird.
It's getting weird that you keep talking about it.
This is getting weird. All right.
Well, I was completely going in a different direction, but you just ran. You
made a mold
me right there, Derek, going in that
one. You made a mold of your own penis so you can get pegged with your own penis.
It works for her. Why not,
Whatever works for her. I agree. Look, happy wife, happy life. All right.
Oh, no. Oh, man. I was going to talk about something. I forgot what we were talking
about. I'm sure. Yeah, you're without words.
Usually,
All right. What else we got? Oh, Jesus. Woo! You got to play this back for EB.
be just watch a show, but only watch it from the hour-minute marker on up until about an hour 5 minutes, and then at that point you can stop watching because we're gonna go back to soccer and you'll be bored of shit.
I mean, that's just such a crazy concept. I'm gonna get a mold of my own penis so I can fuck myself.
I mean, people constantly tell us to go fuck ourselves, so I mean,
and then you'd be able to do
there
it.
You go, right?
I need to send this to Lawless, and so many people tell him to go fuck himself. Just make a mold of your own penis.
Make a mold of your own dick. You're good to go.
And then have your wife peg you with it.
Oh, good lord.
Oh, get a real taste of your own medicine. Oh,
man, we're mad.
You'll be totally able to empathize with EB going forward.
No, you mean I get to say, is it in yet?
Oh! I hope that's not what really happens. Honey, I think you drank too much. Yes, it's in. All right. It's absolutely in.
Oh, good lord.
All 5 inches. All right. All right. Before I kill myself laughing. All right.
For the 150, you have not turned us off just yet.
It's 155, Brett. 155.
Well,
make sure you like, share, save, share with your grandma. Oh, I'm sorry. We're down to 152.
That's right.
Some people don't like this dildo talk.
No. What it is, Derek, is they're like, dude, that's a great idea. And they
got to go.
Take a mold of their own dick.
Oh,
makes sense.
And now that you've got, what are those things where you can make your own with your computer, your printer, it's a 3D printer. You can just take a photo of it, right?
They'll just sit there. I'll be like, enhance.
7, 8 inches.
Dude, hold on, I gotta let's stretch that out. Okay, print.
With a 3D printer, everyone's dangerous now. That's for sure. All right, what else we got?
We gotta go back to talking about soccer now.
Yes, let's try it. Do not panic. Do not panic. Cap them now. Cap them now. All righty, Edgar Moreno. Can anyone tell me why Philippe Sandler is not eligible for the U.S. men's national team? He has a father from South Africa and an American mother who was born here, I believe, while being born. Oh, she was born in the Netherlands? Oh, wow. Was born in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
I've heard he wasn't eligible. He is eligible.
Yeah, his transfer market literally lists citizenship as United States. Mind you, he's 27. He's like, why is he not eligible? He played for the U20s for the Netherlands national U20s.
One-time switch would be necessary.
I don't know what year that whole change occurred where the one-time it clearly is. Never mind, because we had players like Jermaine Jones and Fabian Johnson do the one-time switch over. So
no, he could do it.
Yeah, he could do it. Yeah.
So the question
assuming he's tight, assuming these aren't just regular like rando friendlies or something like that, they may not necessarily even be.
Do you really want him to play for U.S. men's national? That's my question. What has he done to convince you that he should play for the U.S. men's national team? He's fucking 27. He's played everywhere in all places. Never been a standout in any team he's ever played for. He's been totally injury-ridden most of his career. I just don't know what we're interested in at this point. I just don't.
See here, he got almost 2,000 minutes last season.
And he's played 2 games this season. 2.
Well, now I've got to find out what the fuck.
It's nothing I'm getting a hard on for. No jizz flying in this room for this.
He's had a foot injury, Derek.
I know he has, which is why I pointed out he's had lots of injuries in his career. So it's just not a guy you need to bring up right now, especially when we can talk about somebody like Henry, right?
Ooh, that's a lot of injuries.
Yes, he's very injury prone. Has been his whole career. But we got Henry Chase, and Henry Chase is not on the roster of the Japanese national team. Fucking time to get on the horn, call that motherfucker up, and bring him over right now.
I mean, there's a rumor that he was called in, but then rejected the call in
for Japan.
Yeah. Now, I don't know that I haven't seen any credible takes on that, and I've only seen Tech mention there's a rumor. I don't even know where the rumor comes from. So
I can tell
I don't know.
but
I don't know if that's Tech saying I've heard the rumor firsthand, but I can't say my source, and I don't want to say that this is one of my sources because it's.
I think it's the same person.
Probably.
So, but I have two different things coming my way, not just the one we're probably both talking about, but another one that's still a rumor, but not a rumor in the sense that nothing's happening. There is something happening, and I do think that what I heard is the conversation's already happened with Chase. That talk between him and Poach has already happened. It's already happened. So it's just a matter of, is he going to, Chase, pull the trigger? If he does, he will be in this roster if he is ready to do that.
So Andrew, who's been right on a couple of occasions recently,
but that was way back in October.
Well, you say way back; it was like half a month ago.
Well,
but
still,
he's saying that he's hearing reports that U.S. men's national team is in the process of filing paper for one-time switch. It's reportedly a player who plays for a senior team and a top getting top flight experience. Edgar, I guess Edgar it's been made brought to my attention that Edgar said that it's Nathaniel Brown that he's talking about.
It could be.
So there's two players here that could be viable names that brought up, and it could be both of them could be called in. Who knows?
So is Nathaniel Brown, if I'm not incorrect, has played for the German youth teams. He would need to make a one-time switch too. So would
Henri. I know Henri has actually played for the Japan's U20s.
Yeah,
like
so
the World Cup U20s. So I mean, he would have to file one-time switch.
So would Cody Osho, by the way, who could be also part of that earlier rumor thing you were talking about.
Yeah.
There. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else who plays for
Alex Mighton.
No, Alex Mighton. Mighty Mighton. Yeah, no. Mighty Mouse
He's
Mighton.
here stateside, isn't he now?
I don't know.
I think he's playing on the West Coast somewhere.
I don't think so. I think he's playing for like Division 3, England. I could be wrong. I give up on guys once they start dropping down the ladder that far.
Oof. What is that? I love it when Chrome just freezes up on me.
Fucking Chrome. What a piece of shit.
So he's in oh Jesus, I'm never gonna pronounce his name. It's some that's where he's at.
Or North Jalen.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, so he's up there in the great Scandinavian country of Denmark, although a lot of people don't consider Denmark a Scandinavian country. But yeah, that's not where we thought he would be. He was touted at Nottingham Forest as being this great future player.
There were a lot of people that really hyped on him, and he got some minutes and be like, see.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right, so Henri Chase, we're hoping he's one of the guys that gets called up. That would be fabulous.
Even though Edgar had mentioned that that Nathaniel Brown was the one that was filing the switch back in October, Bradley here says this is huge news. Edgar had reported that Japan was going to call him up. Did he decline? And Edgar just gave a big eyes like,
I don't think we all know the answer. He's healthy. He's been playing regularly for Stuttgart, although he hasn't had a couple good games. The last two games were kind of, they're all right. But, I mean, he's young. Let's go get him. If he's not being called up, not taking call-ups from Japan, let's just ask. And as I said, the call has been made. He has got a phone call. The discussion has started. So, Henri
would be capped since it's Nations League. Well, it wouldn't matter because he'd have to file a one-time switch regardless.
Exactly.
So he would be perma-capped for us.
If he switches, he's with us. So that's going to be on him. He did live here for 8 years. Let's keep that in mind. So it's not like
God, his English is impeccable.
His English is perfect.
Wonderful.
Right. So his English is great, which is not necessarily something that you need to have, but it's nice. And he lived here for 8 years. So it's not like he doesn't have a connection with our country. So we will see what happens.
So John goes, he sounds native. He sounds like he's straight from Texas. I mean, I know that's where he was from and everything like that, right?
Yeah.
It was Texas. I mean, he sounds like he's lived there his entire life.
He sounds like his dad, honestly. I saw some weird ass interview with his dad when he went to Stuttgart. They interviewed him on a German site. Yeah. So I think that there's a chance. There's really a chance. I didn't think there was a chance a couple months ago. But this new turn down, if it is, of Japan, or Japan certainly wants him. They certainly do. So it must have been a turn down because it's not injury, as far as I understand it. All right.
No, I don't think so. I mean, there were some people that were talking when I was diving into some of the threads that the Japanese manager kind of wants to just go with like the current crop of center backs.
No, that's wrong.
Bring him in. So
that's wrong. No, not true.
Has he played for the seniors yet? I mean, he's
no.
in his 20s. So
yep, no, he hasn't. And the Japanese manager, as far as I have heard, wanted to call him in. He just got sort of no, not yet. No thanks. No thanks. And by the way, he does not need to make a decision for another year. He could wait this out. He doesn't need. He could focus on his club career for another year and not worry about it.
I guess the big question, though, is, not everybody's Greg Berhalter, but if you keep saying no to the manager, at what point does the manager just go, well, I'm going to go with this guy instead?
Yeah. But I think they'll keep reaching out to him in Japan until he says yes. And we should continue to keep reaching out to him until he says yes to us. And so there you go.
But yes, to your point, though, I understand the incentive of a potential World Cup in 2 years is, knocking on his door at that point.
Oh, hell yeah.
Which he plays for.
Yep.
So he may want to make a decision soon, but to your point, he's young. He doesn't need to make a decision.
Not for another year.
It's gonna be a permanent decision. So at this point, I mean,
he's
write it out. Say, hey, my left foot kind of hurts a little bit. Maybe next time.
Let me be more accurate. He's got about 6 more months to fiddle fuck around, but then he's got to make a decision.
If he wants 126, yes.
Right. The fact is, our CB setup is old on the ream end and inexperienced and naive on the other end. And when I say that, I mean Richards, McKenzie, Trusty, and Miles for sure.
Even CCV to that point.
Yeah. So we're definitely looking for a guy who's playing for one of the top teams in Bundesliga on a regular basis as a center back starter. Yes, that's my guy.
As we talked about last show too, and people were like, I just, I don't see a high ceiling for the kid. I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I'll take stability now. I mean, if he comes in and he just is a solid rock, he doesn't have to be a world beater. I would take stability at the U.S. men's national team center back position at this point. Because
fuck yeah.
I mean, outside of Ream through the World Cup and maybe a couple games afterwards, our center backs have been suspect.
Not great in their own leagues. If you're talking about Zimmerman.
I mean, Richards is doing fine with Crystal Palace, but I mean, he's not been super good
not
for us.
This season.
That's fair.
He's had a rough go this season at Crystal Palace, except for the last game he played before he got injured. So yeah, I mean, you can't rely on Ream.
The Copa will fuck up with anybody's mind.
If we're talking about Brooks is playing in Bundesliga too, and I don't think anybody knows he exists anymore. So I just don't see him being called up.
Is he officially back, or is he still injured?
I think he's still injured. So I haven't seen him. So the 166 of you here now, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. And we do appreciate coming out on Thursday night, where I guess Thursday night football's on, which I don't have on right now.
Touchdown.
Yep. John Sargent to undergo surgery, 8-week timetable. I mean, this is just devastating for him. And all his injuries are so untimely. And this is one of the worst ones for Norwich and for the U.S. men's national team.
So this will obviously he's going to miss this international window clearly, and he'll miss it all the way through December. So does EFL take a winter break, or do they can? I know they play 40 fucking games.
Yeah, there's a bit of a break there. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Mix that and everything. I think this is gonna grant him like 10 weeks of rest, and given his ankle fuckery, I'm actually kind of okay with it. I mean, personally, I would love for him to get called in the U.S. men's national team, bag 2 hat tricks. I don't think it'll happen, but I'm just saying I would like it to get that albatross off his neck and then move forward. But he's been dealing with an ankle injury that's been fucking him around. Norwich has been playing him all the time with it because they need him.
Oh, they've been playing him 90.
So I think right now Norwich is going to be in
they're in a world of hurt.
Yeah.
Without him, you're going to help. You better hope Science better just go continue to go absolutely fucking nutballs. So otherwise, you are screwed.
So this will be nice because it'll be nice because he's finally going to get a little bit of a break outside of, I guess. Well, you know what? But he's been having little breaks all the time when he's been injured. So I don't know if this is necessarily going to be shit for his ankle.
I don't know if we're to the point now where we can say these breaks are good. They're not good. They're not good. So
I sort of worked that through as I was talking about it. So yeah, fair enough. Sucks.
Yep. We'll see what happens.
But Sargent gets a raw end of the deal with the U.S. men's national team fan base as a whole, but he's earned a little bit of it though. So, but
not really. I mean,
scoring sucks.
He's been injured. But his service has sucked when he's played for the U.S. men's national team, too. Let's keep that in mind. He does work hard for the U.S. men's national team. It hasn't been great when he's played with us. So I don't know. He looked really good in the World Cup, and that's not what we've seen so far when he's come back for us. The work rate's still there, but the results aren't there.
Well, to be fair, after the World Cup, he's played some like 68 minutes throughout the Copa window, and that was it before this last window.
Yeah, I don't
since the World Cup. That's been like 2 years. 2 years.
I get it. So we'll see. He'll probably get another chance, would be my guess. But right now, Pepe is making the kind of statements that players need to make to say, "I'm the guy. I'm your guy," and he's going to be starting for us.
Well, that's the thing. Here, that's the big question. We're finally going to get to see it after such a long time. Pepe's going to get the start against Jamaica in both games. Both games. Yep. And we're finally going to see him get the start instead of coming in at the 70th minute. And yet, coming in at 70 minutes, he's still bagging goals. So, again, he's doing his job when he comes in for those bit minutes. But it's going to be nice to see him come in, start the match, and see what he can do as an actual starter for the U.S. men's national team. I mean, hopefully that means he's going to bag a few goals, but we'll see.
The question will be who's Pepe's backup. I'm guessing to go with something you've already seen. If you're Poch and you're comfortable with it and you saw some success, you're probably going to go with Vasquez.
It's a competitive game. He's absolutely going to go with Vasquez.
Yeah, it'll be Pepe and Vasquez. That's our guess for the top two. Balogun's still injured. Yeah, so Wright will be there as a backup center forward, and for a guy that will come on
center forward when he's
second center forward if we need a goal real bad. Otherwise, they'll start out.
Duncan McGuire?
No Duncan McGuire. It's not been a great season for Duncan McGuire, honestly.
Even when it has been good, he hasn't been good for the U.S. youth national teams.
No, that wasn't good either. So, I mean, if you're put in as one of the older players on that team, you need to ball out. He did not ball out. So, all right.
Brings up a great point. It is an island nation. Maybe we need to bring Jack Sparrow in.
No Ferreira Jizz flying on this show. Sorry. All right. What do we got here? Paulo Rudisill scored equalizer for Feyenoord's U19s in their 2-2 draw against Salzburg's U19s in UEFA Youth League. Good for Rudisill. I think that's another player we should all be certainly keeping an eyeball on. Don't break out loop yet, but yeah, certainly somebody to at least make sure you keep one eyeball, at least one of the two eyeballs on, and just there's potential there. So let's not forget he exists. All right.
Greg says Jesus Ferreira fell off bad. Man, I don't recall hearing too much of him. I mean, I saw a couple of goals and some nice plays of this season, but it wasn't like the seasons prior where, he was like contending for like, Golden Boot and shit like that.
I'd really like to know about his mental state. As you know, he gets counseling. He has been very hard on himself, and he is a very self-critical person, and he doesn't take a lot of critical commentary well. He's a very introspective person to the point where it's painful. And so he's had to go through a lot of counseling, dealing with pressure, etc. when it comes to big games. He's talked about it himself in interviews. And, it's got to be tough for him. And I have nothing but love for Jesus Ferreira. I want him to know that, because my Jesus Ferreira jizz talk. I don't dislike him as a player, and I don't dislike him as a person. I think he's a great guy. So just wanted to get that out there. The purse rate record, the talk between Henri Chase and Pochettino has already happened. Discussions have begun.
That was fast, man.
Jesus Christ.
Being Henri Chase propaganda, that was quick, man. You must be in the chat right now.
So let me.
There we go. I think it's stopping right there.
That's true too. He was injured for good chunks of the season.
Yeah.
But I will say this: Pochettino and his staff have not been ignoring Henri Chase. They know who he is. They've reached out. Some sort of conversation has already happened. I don't know. I would suspect it was Poch directly and not one of the assistants. I would suspect it was Poch. I don't know exactly who talked to him, but somebody's talked to him already. Just saying that. I don't want to say it's Pochettino personally. I would suspect it is, but I heard there was already conversation that has happened. Just wanted to clarify that. So there's no Pochettino's definitely talked to him. I don't know if Poch is, but I know the camp, the U.S. men's national team coaching camp, has definitely already reached out to him. I'm just suspecting it is Poch personally. I mean, if you're Henri Chase, or who are you taking a call from? An assistant coach from the U.S., or are you taking a call from Poch? So I am making my own opinion is it had to be Poch. Julian Vivas for $4.99. Why is the roster being released on Sunday? Maybe Henri Chase will be called, along with Trump being president, will impact the U.S. There's no real impact.
I think
I'm going to let you answer this.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Julian, I think you kind of alluded to it right there. I think there is a player, maybe even two, that's kind of holding up the roster by filing a switch. We were talking about Nathaniel Brown earlier, where Andrew had mentioned back in mid-October that U.S. was filing one-time player switch for some player that plays for the first team. And then, Edgar had mentioned that was Nathaniel Brown they were talking about. But now, with Henri, bouncing out of the second window in a row from Japan, whether or not that's him not getting called in or him turning down a call, maybe it's him too. But I think the reason it's on Sunday, and I initially had thought that maybe it was because he was waiting to the weekend games to find out who might be injured. But U.S. Soccer might be that bit of a penny pincher at that point, because they're paying so much for Poch that they're like, well, we don't want to bring fly somebody over just to find out they're injured still. But I think it's because they're waiting for that one-time switch to go through.
But the great news is there has been some discussion. The other great news is that Henri Chase has obviously turned down a call up from Japan. So, I mean, I really suspected 2 months ago when we talked about the first time that he was definitely a Japanese player. But it seems like that's not necessarily the case. And I don't know if we've been, the American fan has been courting Henri Chase like we courted Balogun, because this is a more challenging courting in the sense that Balogun really felt like he was being dissed by not being called up, whereas the Japanese team has called Henri Chase up and he has said, no, thank you. So, I mean, maybe he feels like he doesn't feel welcome there. Maybe he feels like he has a deeper American connection than people think. His fucking English is certainly impeccable. Sounds like he grew up here, honestly. So maybe his connection with his father in the United States is deep. We just don't know about it. Now, the tough thing for him is he will lose his Japanese citizenship, apparently, if he does pick the United States, which will be tough for him and his mom. But he can still visit her. Nothing's stopping him from visiting his mom in Japan. I don't know if they live there still. They might, but I don't know where his parents live currently. So there we go. Somebody says, we have been courting Chase. Well, good for you guys. I know you guys are out there doing that kind of great stuff. Koleosho did horrible today. Yes, he did. He had a really, and by the way, Koleosho had some really poor games this season. Some really mad games too. MEH. So we should still continue to chase, but and keep in touch with him. But if he wants to play hardball and whatever, he's got time to do it. He doesn't need to make a decision.
Yeah.
Derek, do you like to be ridden Amazon style? Is that where the man lets the woman fuck him like she's mounting him with his legs spread and her inside of him?
You're describing it relatively properly, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I did that a number of times.
If D is inside V,
that's all that matters. Yeah, she wants to get all aggressive. I'm cool with that. All right. Anyhow, yes, I know the man's on the bottom. I just described it, Jack. Yes, and I described it because I've done it, so I know what that is. All right. Anyhow. All right. For the 190 of you here now, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. I am just sad I missed 169, but we did. I call that the lazy man position. That's true. We don't have to do any work. We're just like, yeah, fuck that dick. Anyhow, I shouldn't say that. All right.
Greg says, Brett, that subtle smile says a lot. LOL. Well, you know what player doesn't go submissive and always acts as the man with his girl? Jedi. as he bags 10 assists in EPL.
All right, Anthony Robbins surpasses his Christian Pulisic and Brian McBride to have the second most assists by American in the Premier League. Good for him. I love me some Jedi because I also love me some Fulham, as you all know out there.
Yeah,
I have been
3 Fulhams right here.
Yeah, I know. I have been a Fulham fan since 2002, so that is 22 years, and I'm dedicated to that team, and I watch them every weekend, and I love watching me some Jedi. I do miss having a forward on the team, and I know people are going to hate me, but I do love Raul Jimenez. I do love Jimenez. Why? Because he plays for my team and he scores goals. So I love him even though he's Mexican. So it is what it is.
Just don't love him at the national team level.
I know. I try. I don't. At the national team, I have to let that love go. You know what I mean?
BMR says Derek's a bandwagoner.
Yeah, right.
But then he also follows up by saying you're a traitor too.
Jesus, BMR, what's going on tonight?
You're a bandwagoner because you follow Fulham only when they're good.
No, I followed them when they were in the second division.
And then you're a traitor because you love some Mexican forward.
I've been watching Fulham nonstop. Well, okay, so until about 2010, it was hard to get Fulham games. You had to cheat to get that. But I watched them. I had many a good morning waking up with whomever was next to me that morning in 2001 and 2 and 3, and just happened to be a fucking Premier League game on, and it was Fulham. And I got to watch, like in some of the cases, Brian McBride play. And dude, I got whoever was with me into the game too. She was like, what's this? Explain it to me. And I give her all the perspective. I give her the context. Like, we're Americans. These guys are fighting to make a name for themselves in the fucking league. They get all into it too. Oh my God. I'm a big McBride supporter too. We'd have a great morning. We'd have breakfast in bed. We watched the game. It was great. It was great times, man. I will never forget those times. Good times. All right.
I don't know if you mentioned the dates or whatever. Colin says it was 2006, not 2010.
For what?
I don't know. I'm just I scrolled back up and I didn't see anybody mention dates. I figured maybe you said a date in there.
I don't remember.
Like, you've been following Fulham since whatever, I guess. I don't know.
I believe it was 2002. I don't know the exact date, but somewhere around there. It's been 20 plus years.
All right. Well,
he's saying Fox Soccer showed Pio and Serie A since 2006.
Okay.
That's why I was saying I had to cheat in some cases early on, especially when Eddie Eagle was on the team, who was the supposedly the American Beckham at the time, Eddie Lewis. Yeah. You had to cheat. But I was watching it with Eddie Lewis. That's when I first started watching some Fulham games illegally online. And yeah. But then I got McBride, then I got Dempsey. It was like, man, it was just every morning was great.
Yeah.
So anyhow, was it good times when you had been ridden Amazon style, Derek? Jack, these are really freaky questions, but yeah. Good times every time it happened.
I mean, once again, DNV, when's it not good?
Eddie Lewis on Fulham. Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Yeah, for a period.
Yep.
Before we jump into our last topic here, I figured, I'm assuming you've got a midweek report.
I do.
So let's cover that.
Monday. Jedi, 90 minutes and assists and a win, as we already talked about.
Yep.
Rick Van Hees, 90 minutes for Utrecht.
Keep wanting to say Rick Van Winkle when you say that.
Rick Van Winkle. Rick Van Hees, 90 minutes for Utrecht's 2 team in a win. Jalen Hawkins, 81 minutes and a goal for Evan.
Real quick. I mean, you're fully aware of the peanut, the squirrel. We talked about that on Monday, correct?
My memory's bad, Brett.
So the family that had a squirrel and a raccoon.
Oh, yeah.
They came in, they killed the squirrel and the raccoon.
They killed him, yeah.
Did you see on Kamala's stage the night of the election, a squirrel ran across it? So people are like, it's the ghost of Peanut!
The ghost of Peanut. All right. Yeah, I did not see that. Tillman, by the way, the game of the season for him on Tuesday, 90 minutes, a goal, 2 assists, a win, man of the match. Can he please in some way figure out a way, and can Poach figure out a way to make this the Tillman we see when he's with
it was nice to see it in a good competitive match too.
Yeah, against a decent team.
Some 18th ranked Eredivisie team, you know.
Yes. He was great. I mean, this is the guy we need. But he needs to figure out how to do it for us. Pepe, 5 minutes. Ledesma in the 18. Cole Campbell, 13 more minutes for Dortmund's team. And
sorry, Daniel says Tillman greater than Reina this season.
Oh, that's not hard. It's not difficult.
At all. Just get on the pitch, man.
Just play. Trusty, 90 minutes, 74 for CCV and a win versus Leipzig. So this is not a small win.
Yeah, dude, I was getting into it with Frank and Larry about Larry's like, hey, this isn't the Celtic of old. Like of old, it means like the past couple seasons, not necessarily like of old where Celtic were actually dominant. But I'm like, hey, you know what? they manage to get a result against Leipzig, then I'll start to be impressed. And they pull out a 3-1 fucking victory. God
There you
damn.
go. And
I gotta
by the
I gotta
way,
start really paying attention to this duo of Americans.
Frank Pineda's right as well. Girona is a good team. At
Yep.
least they certainly
Well,
were.
they were last season, man. They're like bottom half the table in La Liga this season.
Yeah, something's going on there. They lost
Last
some
season
players.
was a fluke, maybe.
Well, they lost some players too.
That's fair. That's fair.
And Daily Blind's another year older. There you go. Weah, 22 minutes. McKennie, 22 minutes, both for Juventus. I'm not sure why neither started since they've both been impactful lately. So I don't think I called Jack Frank. Did I? I called Jack Frank? What, am I that stupid? Or am I that blind? I can't read the screen.
I don't know. I mean, I said Frank and Larry, so maybe Frank was on your mind, and you said Frank.
Could be. I got Frank on my mind. Okay, Pulisic 70. Musa did close out the game as well. Yeah, not one of Pulisic's best games. Musa, though, did some good shit. So I hope that continues. Aiden Morris with 90 for Middlesbrough in a win. Figueroa for Liverpool versus Bayer Leverkusen's U19s. Liverpool's U19s got a goal and assist in 20 minutes in that win for Liverpool's U19s. This is good.
Figueroa.
We already talked about this, but Matisse Albert or Mathis Albert, depending on what you want to say, got a goal for
Albert. Just sounds cooler. Let's just stick with that.
I like a Matisse Albert myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Got a goal for Dortmund's. He's a young kid. He's 15 years old, playing for the Dortmund U19s. He scored. What else do you need to know? Let me see. For John Tompkinson, 90 minutes for the U21s against Nord's Jalen's U21s.
Wait. Which U21 is this?
John Tompkinson, Norwich's U21s versus.
Oh, I thought he got released.
I don't think so. He played, so something.
No, that's fair. No, I'm not discrediting the fact that you had the report that says he played. I just thought that he got released at this season.
No, he got released from the big boy team, back down to the small boy team. Henri Chase, 81 in a loss, was not his best game for Stuttgart, but fine. Brendan Aronson, 90 minutes in a loss, not his best game for Leeds. Haji Wright, 90 minutes. Interesting thing for Coventry City, they have a young American who's 18 years old named Aiden Dausch. He was born in England, but his parents are American, and he is a forward. He made the lineup. He made the 18 for Coventry City as a backup forward. Let's see what happens. Him
and Haji are going to be battling for time, huh?
Yeah, I think I sent you a picture of him, by the way. But no, you don't need to put it up there. Dwayne Holmes, 14 minutes for Preston North End. I don't know why he's not starting more. When he seems to start, they seem to win. But 14 minutes for Dwayne Holmes. Cade Cowell, 71 for Chivas in a goal. Good for Cade.
Yeah.
Also, with the other American, Leo Sepulveda went 2 minutes and extra time for Chivas in that win. Timothy Chandler in the 18. Nathaniel Brown did not dress because, as you pointed out correctly, he was not listed in the original European tournament roster, so he can't play, but he has started the last 2 games for Frankfurt, and I imagine he will start the next one as well. Matarazzo got a tie for Hoffenheim. Taylor Testament went 90 in a tie for Lyon. Leonard Maloney went 90 in a win. And I think this is Conference League, I believe, in a win. So he's back from injury. Bello went 90 in a tie. Cardoso, also in Conference European play, went 72 in a win. Koleosho, 90 for Burnley in a tie in a MEH game. Frankie Amaya, 65 for Toluca in a loss. Fernando Arce, long forgotten, never mentioned, never cared. Anybody did. No one cared. 83 minutes in the tie for Necaxa in Mexico in Liga MX. Alejandro Zendejas, a goal and a win in 80 minutes for America. Like, he just keeps doing this.
Yeah.
Just keeps doing this for America. I don't know. His time with us has been Matt
is very courteous, Derek.
Right. Derek talking about a tournament doesn't matter. Yeah, BMR, the conference, the third division of European soccer championships, fucking useless. Fucking useless tournament. Doesn't need to even be happening. It's just taxing the players.
Cash grab, yeah. Tax the players, yep.
And a lot of these teams are struggling in their own leagues, and now they got to go play some bullshit third division fucking European championship when they're struggling in their league, so they're playing like second string players. Fuck this shit. I know a lot of people enjoy the conference league, especially if your team is in it, or for me, when I get to watch American players play in it. But can we be serious? There should be only 2 levels of European competition. What are we going to add another one and call it the Jokers fucking Conference League? So we got 4 divisions of fucking tournaments going on. How fucking bullshit is that?
Well, I mean they might have that if Super League ever comes to fruition.
I mean, if you actually think about it as divisions, you've got Champions League, Europa League, and now we're doing Conference League. If I were the coach of any team playing Conference League and I was more focused on my league, I'd say, fuck this. Let's just lose this bullshit fucking Conference League thing so we can go focus on the league and don't have to travel anymore and tire our fucking team out and our roster out playing a bullshit conference fucking bullshit game against fucking middle fart. Seriously. Seriously.
Look, I keep going back to middle fart.
Well, I can't think of any other teams right now.
B. Mars calling you a party pooper.
I am a party pooper, and that's okay. Joe Corona, by the way, was in the 18 for Tijuana. He has gotten a lot of minutes.
Joe Corona.
Joe Corona. Yeah, you could have the 4th Division League. You could call it the Dildo Conference League. I like that, Anthony.
Yeah, I knew I saw it somewhere there, yeah.
The D League, the Dildo League, the D Conference shithole league. These are the teams that really are just mid-table for their leagues across Europe. They get to play a tournament too. Like the 8th through the 12th. The 8th through the 12th team in the fucking Premier League get to play the Dildo shithole league. And then the 5th and 6th team in the Czech Republic get to play in the Dildo Conference League.
It'd be funny in the 5th division, you'd actually have a team who just got relegated in the Swiss League playing in the 5th division of Europe.
Yes, you could have. I mean, Conrad's Lausanne could make the Dildo League next year, right? And they're like mid-table to lower mid-table. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just have all these players play themselves to death. Let's have them play until everyone's injured. Let's do that.
Jack Benet says, in that case, called Brett's Good Time League. I mean, that's got to be a very low league then.
And it has to involve the strap on. All right.
and games only last 5 minutes. So
you're telling me she only lasts 5 minutes?
I know, it's kind of annoying.
That must really turn her on. All right. All right. So that's about all we got. Do you have more?
Well, of Yanks Abroad, no, but we have U.S. men's national team to talk about.
Oh, yeah. I kind of gave up most of our picks through this process, but yeah.
You gave up, is correct. So, yeah, apparently the roster's being dropped.
We gave it up Amazon style. Amazon style.
Throwback. So we talked about via Super Chat of why we think that the roster is getting dropped on Sunday of all days.
Right.
You know? And I think they're just waiting. They're waiting in hopes that a one-time switch will get processed in time. But
yes.
We'll see. So So Derek, I figured instead of just go down a 23-man roster, I figured what we'll do is do a
starting
lineup, and then we'll do the bench players lineup.
Okay, let's do it. Matt Turner, goalie.
That's pretty safe to assume.
I think so. Pretty safe. Based on what Poach. This is what we think Poach is doing, by the way. Left back, yes, Robinson.
Once again, it's a safe assumption.
Right back, Scally.
Again, safe assumption.
And I do think, from what I understand, we're going to be playing a 4-2-3-1 this time. Not a 3 in the back, but we'll see. Center backs.
Yeah. I mean, this is how I have it lined up. Most likely, if it does go back to that other way, the other lineup, then we'll change it accordingly. But
I guess, yeah,
we'll change it. I think this 11 is going to be set in stone regardless, for the most part.
Yeah.
Center back's going to be a toss-up for me.
I still think Ream's starting.
I think Ream's starting because we haven't tested. I mean, he hasn't tested CCV or Trusty for that matter. Miles didn't really prove anything worthwhile.
We got no Richards.
No Richards.
McKenzie, probably.
Has to be McKenzie, yeah.
Yeah, Adams is back, so I do think he may not start, but
Well, we know Weston.
Weston for sure.
And most likely Tillman.
Tillman up as the CAM. Are we thinking it's between Tessman and Cardoso?
I would lean towards Cardoso first.
I would too.
He's been playing minutes. He's had a decent couple of performances recently. Tessman has been off the bench of the last.
No, he started today.
Started today. Okay.
Went all 90.
I would still say Cardoso.
I'll say Cardoso too, but it's close. It's really close. Because remember,
no picture. Well, that's just rude.
Remember when Tessman came off the bench for Poach, he played really well.
Look at that. That's just sad and ridiculous. Come on, man.
I mean, you don't have a picture of Johnny? Come on. That's Pulisic.
Friggin' ridiculous.
Pulisic, other side, Weah.
Hold on real quick. Daniel's telling me to skip the ad. Dude, I skip the ad all the freaking time, and they keep popping back up. So keep doing stuff.
Weah.
They keep coming back.
And then up top, Pepe. So there's your starting 11, which we got, I think, 100% right last time.
Yeah. I think the only two in serious question, well, you could say three. I think the center backs might be in question, although I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think
CCV Johnny and Tessman.
CCV is still playing 70 minutes for Celtic. Trusty, I don't know if Poach really trusts Trusty yet. But I'm here all week. So I think it's probably McKenzie, who has shown a really good propensity to carry the ball forward. So I think he might be the future Ream, but I still think you're playing Ream. Levered at $4.99. I think our team is better without Reyna playing 4-3-3. Why force Aronson in the lineup or play Tillman in a position he never plays for his club? Well, I mean, the thing with Tillman, if you watch him play for PSV, he's in the middle of the park a lot. A lot.
Well, and Tillman even said after this last match that he hopes his coach recognizes the fact that he plays better up the pitch.
Yes.
So.
And he does.
In a 4-3-3, we play better without Reyna. Sure, I mean, I guess you could say that. I mean, we don't with a 4-3-3. We're not necessarily playing with the 10 at that point.
But Labrador, you also have to take into account Poach's tendencies, which I mean, he sort of already broke that by playing a 3 in the back. But he loves himself a 4-2-3-1.
And I'll also say we are far more productive scoring goals with Reyna in an advanced role.
Well, let's hope we can do that with Tillman. But I think this is the starting lineup.
The only thing you could argue, and I don't think it would work, is BA, because he loves himself some BA, but BA could start over Tillman. I'm not saying it would happen. I'm just saying it could happen.
It could. It's possible he does love Brandon Aronson, but you cannot ignore what Tillman's doing with PSV against better competition right now.
So, okay, real quick, I'll come back to this. Labrador said yes.
And when
but
I
I'd
say
rather
better,
duel
when I say better competition, I want to be really clear. The last game he just played in the Champions League.
Okay.
Okay.
He says yes, but I'd rather duel eights with Tillman and Musa. So Johnny and Musa actually could be a flip too.
You're right. It could be Musa McKennie.
Yeah. I mean, they have the history together.
You know what? For safety's sake, let's throw Musa in there because I think they're right. I think that's correct. I think Labrador's right. I think that's going to be Musa.
The fuck do you get rid of a player?
Bench him?
Remove. There we go. Jeez.
Okay.
What a fucking hassle that was.
Yeah. Bam. I think this is actually probably right.
I think that's more likely.
Yep.
Okay. We're gonna go with our bench squad.
Well, that's Schulte.
So I was gonna say it's Schulte, and unfortunately, I think he's still gonna stick with Horvath as the
I
third
do too. Yep.
goalkeeper. Primarily because who else is he gonna really bring in? I mean, you can bring in some
Coaching or
you can bring in coaching, or you can bring in an MLS
Celentano
goalkeeper that hasn't really been called up before, but's had a good season. Do we bring in Gaga, who's been benched?
No.
So
you can't bring in Gaga right now. Gaga is not playing well. He's been benched for a reason. Just go watch the games. Yes, this is what I would like to see at left back as a backup for Jedi, Nathaniel Brown, for sure. This could be Chase, I'm hoping. And then I think the other one will be CCV, more than likely. Even though he's not fully healthy. I'd be shocked if it were Trusty.
is Fossey healthy?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be Fossey then, right?
Yep. He just played. Then we're talking Cardoso and Tessman.
Yeah, no Adams?
Oh, yeah, it is Adams. Sorry. Yeah, he'll be called up for sure. And I know people are going to be like, leave him home, but no way. He's going to want to bring him in, even if he's playing 15 minutes off the bench, which he's already clearly shown he can do. So I think
the
third
going to be our 10 role in this sense.
That'll be Aronson. Backup.
Trying to think who's going to be our outside backup then.
I have a few theories on that.
I wonder if both Aronsons get called in at some point.
Maybe.
I mean, Paxton's been proving himself.
He has. He's done great, but time will tell. Right on the left. Yeah, you got it. I think Vasquez is realistic at this point as the backup to Pepe. Got too many injuries. Too many injuries.
Is there an S in Vasquez? What the hell? Am I spelling it wrong?
Yes. It's VAS. There you go.
That's not right.
No. Can you put in Brendan first, maybe? I don't know. It is a C at the end.
They don't like Brendan Vasquez.
Say Brendan?
So here's what I'm going to do. There we go.
Let's just have an Argentinian player on our team. Outright. Outright's difficult. Who'd we play there last time?
Musa played out there.
That's right. This is tough. I mean,
so here's what you could do. You could have Johnny in a more advanced role and push Brandon out wide, and then you bring in Maloney.
I mean,
or Tessman.
You don't really need another because Aronson can play out there too.
Yeah,
right.
That's what I'm saying. Push Aronson out wide.
So let's just bring in another midfielder, make it Maloney. Obviously, that's not the position he would play, but at least you have a replacement for a like-for-like replacement for Adams and a guy who can also play center back, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So those are your backups.
I know it's Brandon was I spelling Vasquez wrong here? Was I spelling? I spelled it right. Look, it's Vasquez right there.
Yeah.
I'm spelling it right.
But it is
that was Brandon. I put Brandon in there. Put Brandon VA and it never popped up.
Yeah. I don't know. That's weird.
Could be Cal. We could bring in Cal.
Maybe, but I doubt
they could bring in he could bring in Zayden Dejas again.
I doubt it. I seriously doubt that. Because you got multiple players who can play out wide according to Poch, and that's Musa, Aronson. You already got Wright, Pulisic, Weah. How many wingers do you need? How many wingers do you really need? How many midfielders do you need? You could say that too, and I'd agree with you. I'd agree with that too. They just don't like Brandon Vasquez.
He's not a real player, apparently. Oh, there he is.
Oh.
No. That's a Philly. It's Philly.
Yeah, fucked up. Like, do they not follow the Liga MXs?
I don't know. That's as close as we can get, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's about as close as it's gonna get there.
Yep. All right, so that's it. I mean, there's one more player because there's 23. And that'll probably be just the third goalkeeper, which we already said is going to be Horvath.
I'm not going to go that far in depth if it's requiring us to put an accent on the A. So I'm just going to ignore.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, we'll just use the one with the American flag.
Oh no. Vasquez voted for Trump and so he got canceled.
I doubt that's...
No, that can't be right. We got Pulisic in here.
Yeah, exactly. Pulisic. Oh, all right. I'm not going to say anything else. I know a few of the other players that voted for Trump too, but I'm not going to. It's not my job to say who they are. That's for them.
I heard it was Aaron Long. We should cancel him.
Well, it's Jeff Cameron, but he's not.
Oh yeah. We absolutely know it's Jeff Cameron. Yeah.
Yep.
I pulled this up and then I bounced off real quick and I never went back to it, so I want to pull up now.
FM, fucking motherfucking an angry American, $10. What do y'all think about adding CONMEBOL teams to Nations League? It can definitely help CONCACAF's better teams. I'm not sure if y'all talked about this yet. I would love that to happen.
It'd be great.
But it ain't happening, unfortunately.
Then we might, obviously we might be in the second tier of Nations League at that point. Well, they go based off of FIFA rankings.
Yeah, we'd probably be in.
Unless we get relegated, I guess.
We'd be in Group B.
Yeah.
A would be Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay. I don't know. Maybe we're making it to that after that, but it'd be really a difficult thing. But that's what
Copa performance. But
but that's what we need. We need to be playing top competition on a consistent basis and playing this dumbass fucking Nations League CONCACAF crap is doing no one in CONCACAF any good at all. It's not doing Mexico any good. It's not doing us any good. It's not doing fucking Canada any good or Costa Rica any good or Honduras any good. It's fucking bullshit. All of us should. This Nation League thing needs to chill out and be not as repetitive as it is for across the board for all continents, so we can occasionally go play Italy, France, Germany, the Dutch, Belgium. Yes.
So it worked like this. If you kept the same Nations League setup that we have going on right now, there would be 8 teams right now going into this window. So the U.S. would absolutely be a part of that 18. Now we might be facing something like Brazil, and we might not make it to the quote unquote finals, which is semifinals and the finals. But
we'd be playing better teams on a regular basis.
I guess to go off of what BMR is asking, why the fuck would CONMEBOL do that?
It
doesn't benefit them at all. It really doesn't. But I mean, I guess.
I think it would money wise.
I was gonna say the one thing it'd benefit them definitely would be is Brazil might play. Well,
this isn't
Brazil
about
might play the U.S. instead of Peru or something like that.
This isn't about CONMEBOL. They have no say in that happening. That would have to be FIFA. Would have to say it should happen or approve it happening, and they're not going to do that.
There you go. That might be another issue too. They have barely enough windows to fit in their
exactly
qualifying.
Yep.
Labrador for 199 says Poach trying to play tiki taka on a bad pitch, we lose.
Could be.
Hey, don't make fun of St. Louis Field. I mean that's a pretty decent field.
Should be. I mean, it's cold outside. It's gonna be.
Well, I mean, it'll probably be in the 50s, and by nighttime comes around.
Should help us against
nice and refreshing.
Should help us against teams not used to cold weather for sure.
I mean, I'm sure the local Jamaicans from the Jamaican League aren't familiar with 50-degree nights, but there's enough Jamaicans that are playing in England or in the U.S. that I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Should be fine for them. I will just say this one last time. The Nations League is the dumbest thing that anybody ever made up. It keeps teams from smaller federations. It disallows them the opportunity to go play bigger and better competition and friendlies across the world. You will never again see a Euro tour like Klinsmann did against Italy, Germany, the Dutch. I mean, you'll never see it again. Nations League has made that impossible. So you can't even blame that on Berhalter. People are blaming that on Berhalter earlier back. That's not his fault. Infantino in his tiny child mind, his tiny little baby-like mind, Infantino, male baby, made this fucking dumb concept come to fruition. The Gold Cup is now a second-rate cup. And on top of that, we don't get to play friendlies against any really, really good teams anymore. We're constantly stuck playing Nations League against fucking island nations. That's not going to make us better. It's not going to make us better.
We do have England coming up, don't we?
Okay, Brett, but that's the rare exception to the rule.
Sure. I'm just saying, what one window out of the year does not make a quality team?
No, it doesn't. Yeah, and so there were times during the Klinsmann era, for instance, and even during the Bradley era, where we went and we had tough teams come over and play against us, really good ones, the best of Europe, the best from South America. It's just not something that can be done anymore because of what the small-minded, tiny, baby-minded Infantino did. And I don't say that as, I'm basically trying to point out that's his name, Infantino, a male baby. And that's what he is. He's a small-minded, stupid fuck. And, I always wanted a really great, like if you could cut down all the other Champions League things and tournaments and how big they are and how long they take, if you could chip those down and make them more quick and more efficient, and they were over with more quickly, you could have a really goods to honest Club World Cup. That would be fantastic. But before you add that, shouldn't you figure out a way to fucking chip down and minimize the number of games teams have to play in the Champions League first? The Champions League's across the AFC and in North America and Europe and everywhere else. We can't make players play 11 months out of the year, or they're going to be injured half the time. It's just getting ridiculous at this point. Anyhow,
Well,
just
and
my opinion.
Champions League definitely just pulled in another 4 to 6 games or whatever, in addition to what the previous years have done. So
you trim it down a little, you could add something like a Club World Cup, and it would be really exciting, and people would be really tuned in because the players would be healthy and the teams would actually use their actual starting lineups. But if you're Liverpool and you're playing in Champions League, your players are also playing. They're playing 2 to 3 games a week on top of FA Cup, all the cup. If you're German, Pokal, you're exhausted, dude. You better have a really deep team, really deep. It's going to be really hard for a lot of teams to prioritize the Club World Cup coming forward as it is currently being plotted because teams are going to be exhausted. So we'll see how that works out.
Mm-hmm.
But, you got Infantino. Is he better than Sepp Blatter? Well, he doesn't smell like sausage. I guess that's the one positive thing. But we still got a lot of issues to settle. And there are a lot of demands being put on these players. If you talk to any of them, they'll tell you how exhausting this is. It's absolutely exhausting. There is never a break. And the break is very small and very short. And you're right back to training camp. I mean, a lot of these guys are getting 30 days off a year. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's where we're at right now. Professional football. It's a fucking month-long break. And then you're back to playing off-season friendlies overseas, sometimes in Asia, traveling all over the country. And you're making good money. I agree. So maybe you shouldn't bitch. But if your body's aching and your limbs aren't working and your things aren't going well with your body, it makes it almost impossible to ever get healthy. So we're not seeing the very best of some of these teams sometimes because of the schedule. So anyhow, that is what it is. So we'll just deal with it because Infantino is in power, and that's where we're at. All right. I think that's it for tonight.
Yeah, that's all, folks.
It is. We want to again say we really do appreciate you coming out. Yes, my voice is burnt. I get it. People have mentioned it. My voice has been burnt out because I teach all day. So not only am I talking all day, now I'm coming here and talking all day after I've already been done talking for 6 hours. So yeah, my voice is going to be fried. And my voice never really fully recovered from the show I did on October 11th. I think you would vouch for that, Brett. My voice has not ever been back since then. It's been this raspy shit since then. On top of some surgeries that I've had on my polyps. Anyhow, it's a whole nother story. Nothing serious, no cancer. So all good. But we'll see what happens next. We are looking forward to November and looking forward to the friendlies. Make sure you hook up with your stepsister and let her know the games, big games coming up. We've got the roster announcement on Sunday, which will be perfect for us because on Monday, our show is on again, and we'll be able to talk about who Poach picked, whether or not Chase is on that list, or Nathaniel Brown made the team, or if even Maloney made the team. So all very interesting shit. We want to, again, just say thank you for showing up. We love you all. It's been I don't want to say a blessing because that's not who I am, but it is. It feels like that sometimes. Hanging out with you guys is a great distraction and a great time to talk about other shit than just the dumb shit going on. And I know we had to cover some of the dumb shit earlier, but that dumb shit is important. So we did have to talk about it. But anyhow, we will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. We'll see you soon. Good night.
That hurt.
I'm really proud of the way that the guys just put in the shit.
Hey, what's it like in Brazil right now? Is it warm? Yeah. It's always hot, huh?